You're on.
Hey, welcome from Winter Garden, Florida. Woo! Can't believe we've made it. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
We left over a week ago from Portland, Oregon, and flew to Norfolk, Virginia, where we did a lot of workshops and speaking at the Summit on Step Families for Family Life.
7th annual Step Family Summit.
Yeah, that was
Virginia.
Great outing.
Lots
really
of humidity. The heat's been up and down. Yesterday we were in St. Augustine, Florida, and it was 87 or 89, and humidity was 85%, so it felt like it was like 100 degrees. And yeah, it was great.
I don't do humidity.
No, you wilted. You really did.
It was bad.
Yeah,
Well,
keeping
so
you
funny.
hydrated and fed.
Yeah, it was funny to be, Halloween last night, and it was, 85 in St. Augustine, Florida, and then I noticed that it was snowing in the Midwest, so
Yeah.
crazy. But we've had a great trip. We actually, first time we ever journeyed down the east coast of the U.S., so we started in Virginia, then went to Charleston, South Carolina.
You better get
so we
that
went
straight.
through 5 states.
Better get that straight.
And then
North Carolina, South Carolina,
Georgia,
and now Florida.
Yeah, so.
In Winter Garden, and it is definitely a garden considering that, it's November 1st, and a lot of the people we're talking to right now are wearing stocking caps, gloves, hats, and are cold. And we're not.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We have a couple more days before we're home, but anyway, it's been really cool to do this road trip, and we finally figured out how to do Amazon Prime Music, and we're listening to the mellow 70s, which some of you probably weren't even born. It was really cool to rock out, and just music I don't know, soothes my soul. Poor Gil has to put up with my singing, which
Yeah, it was a personal karaoke. Personal karaoke
he's
in my
the one
ear.
that's got a great voice.
While I was driving, you were singing along.
But also,
the meaning in the songs, though.
yeah, and finally, some of them had lyrics you could read. It's like, oh, here all these years I was making up the words, and this is what they were really saying. And some of them were really profound.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah, crisscross, Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the idea too, it's like, okay, we didn't know each other in the 70s, so
Yeah, so there
what
was
were those
there was a
songs?
Fleetwood Mac song that came on that I was like, no, just turn that over because it reminded you of an old boyfriend and reminded me of my ex-wife. So it was like, I don't think I want to listen to that.
yeah, so it's just amazing how songs and history just really, I don't know, it's part
Takes
of
you
our
back.
life. Yeah,
you
good
back.
and bad.
I think one of the interesting lyrics in some of the songs were about being known and how much there was about the soul. So here we are now in 2019 going into 2020, and we don't want to be known. We have no soul, and we are now one of the loneliest people in the entire world here in the United States. So I think we should go back to the 70s. So we were all selfish, self-centered, but we weren't lonely. We were just singing about it, and you could have your one-night stand and be good with that.
Yeah.
So we've really come a long way, baby, right?
We have?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of regression there.
Yeah. Well, I think we've been talking a lot about, Gil, as you say in your counseling practice, that we want to be known, we want to be seen,
And belong.
And belong. And of course, we all kind of know what social media has done. That is kind of this false sense of
It's virtual.
Those 3.
It's not real.
Yeah. And then the next question is, well, do you want to change? Do you want to change that idea of being loneliness and to be known?
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking about a conversation we had with, different people at the conference, and then post-conference met up with another friend that we hadn't seen for a number of years, who's been, practicing counseling and psychology for 30 years. And, we go to conferences, and then we promptly stick the material or the workbooks on a shelf or in a desk, and then forget about it and go about our lives doing the same thing that we did. We might have picked up 1 or 2 pointers, and that was a really great idea, but did we apply it to our lives? And so I think that was the conversation, is what do we value more, the information or being there, being seen
Yeah.
at the conference, or really coming away with what did we get, and now we valued the opportunity to change.
Yeah. And that's where the rubber hits the road, don't you think?
Well, it's what do I value? That
Yeah.
was the conversation even as we left St. Augustine this morning down into Orlando, and we're not that far from Orlando here. The value, you know, and people changing and having a different attitude, or, you know, do they really want to change? Well, if they don't value it, then no, they don't. They really don't want to change. They want to remain the way they are because they're comfortable.
Oh, yeah. The
And
whole comfort thing.
because
yeah.
if they're comfortable, then they
Yeah.
have no need to change, and they basically then can kind of run into some treacherous waters of I don't care, becoming apathetic,
Yeah.
or cynical,
Yeah.
which that's a scary place to be. So being able to go to a conference and get in good information and read a book or whatever, then do we value what we've taken in, because we are trying to grow up, we're trying to mature, we're trying to, you know, not be better people, but to be more loving people and to relate well to others.
Right. And are we being selfish by not wanting to change? Like, you know, in corporations, you have these 360, or is it 180 degree?
360.
360 surveys of what your coworkers think of you and how you do. I mean, what if we did that with our friends and family?
we
That'd
may
be kinda
not we may
scary.
not have any friends or family. If they were honest with us, we'd say, you know, on you, and just say, I'm going to go find me some new friends.
But I just wonder if that's
And
why
we got so many on Facebook, you could just pick one, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
sure.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if, because we don't feel like we need to change, how can we be more mature in our relationships by learning what we're giving to relationships around us? I don't
Well,
know.
I think that was part of the conversation that came off. We made a stop and visited with a friend in southern Georgia. Went to the horse stamp inn. That was really cool. That's just north of the Florida border. Some story there we won't go into, but the place of belonging and bonding, and I think that was a recent book that one of my clients mentioned about, you know, the step family and bonding and attachment, and the nature of bonding. We may get an opportunity to have that when we're younger, but then when you go through a divorce or a remarriage, or, you know, someone's passed away, and then you start these new relationships, we get lost, we get lonely, we don't have anything to bond to. And so the nature of being able to bond and have connection, not just to communicate it in an intellectual area, you know, intellectual level, but to connect and bond at an emotional level, to really then say, you know, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? And that place then brings belonging, because now I've bonded to you not only intellectually but emotionally.
And I think that goes beyond step families. That's kind of a no-brainer.
I think it's a human thing.
Obvious that, that
Yeah,
in step families, but yeah, I mean, we're also saying, you know, how many people that have been married 30 years that still don't know each other,
Yeah.
that, like you said, didn't bond. It's
Yeah,
like, wow.
you don't know me.
Yeah,
and
but
if you
it's
really
never
did-
too late.
No,
That's
no.
the thing. That's our encouragement here, is it's never too late to take that risk.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and a lot of times people think, oh, risk is going to be a negative, but what if you were to take a risk in a relationship and it could be positive, and it could totally turn the relationship to a more positive thing?
Well, and I think that's the temptation in our world, is not take the risk, but go ahead and numb out,
Yeah.
with some ism, you know, some kind of thing that's going to numb our heart from, no, I don't want to take the risk, and so I get into some kind of an addiction or an addictive behavior or an addictive personality. Well, okay, there are those tendencies. However, to take the risk, to bond, and to really be open and to be transparent, then eliminates, maybe not reduces it completely. I want to rephrase that. Maybe it reduces it, maybe doesn't eliminate it, but reduces potentially that now I'm feeling with someone and they're feeling with me, then I don't have to turn to something to numb out, because now I'm not
Yeah.
carrying it by myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing with especially step parents is, if your kiddo is having a hard time bonding with you, try something a little different. Enter into their pain. Enter into their world. Enter into their grief. And that is a very vulnerable place for you to be, because now you're feeling with them. And if they know
Yeah.
you're genuine,
Yeah.
they may actually open up to you more. So I think that's maybe the takeaway point today is, if you're trying to bond with somebody and you're maybe having a difficult time, take the risk. Take the risk to step in and say, is this what you're thinking? Are you thinking that? And then be quiet and continue to stay curious. Don't go judgmental,
Yeah.
and try to take their perspective just to understand it.
It's beautiful words. Well said.
Hard to do.
Hard to do.
Hard
Yes.
to do.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to sign off here, and we're going to continue our little vacay.
Okay.
And hopefully the few minutes with you has encouraged you, challenged you, action step of
Take
go
a
take
risk.
some risks.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
bond. Good deal.
All right. Carry on.
Always forward.
Okay. Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.